Um, I will start again because I'm not sure how far I got. Okay, I was talking in the first video about me sharing experiences that I've been through and how they've affected me positively and negatively. Um, that was the gist of what I was saying, and I've had more than one relationship that was abusive. Um, Abuse comes on many levels. There's what you can see, the physical. Then there's what you can't see, the verbal, the emotional, and the sexual. So, knowing that, um, I have had all of them happen to me at different times in my life. Um, I was sexually abused by a babysitter, and I want to say I was around 4 because it was before I went into school, and I was 5 when I went to school. So, yeah, for about a year, almost a year, something like that. Anyway, anytime that we did something wrong, I was the first one to get a bath. And I cannot tell you how long that bath lasted, but it was long enough for me to feel like it was a lifetime. And I had already knew to wash parts of my body, so she was helping me, and I didn't know what she was doing at the time. But it lasted for a long period of time. I would say about a minute, 2 minutes, um, which is more than long enough for a child, and that to happen repeatedly, whether it was me getting in trouble or my brother getting in trouble or she was mad, or it wouldn't matter. I could say the wrong thing. Instead of saying hello, I could say hi, and she would get mad at me. Um, and then there was around 6 months, 6 months later, around there, I had a best friend's cousin um, rape me. I was 9. I never went over to that friend's house again. I never talked to her again. I left her and her family alone. Um, and then there was the aunt, quote unquote, an uncle that we had, and we would spend weekends with him every once in a while. When we did, I was always, because I took a shower when I was there. I made sure to take a shower because we would go swimming, we'd be bike riding, we'd be doing something active during the day, and she would get in the shower with me to save on water. And it's okay because, she's got the same parts that I've got, is what she said. And anyway, she more than one time molested me in the shower. Um, there was one time where I was taking a nap and I woke up with her on top of me. Um, that's something that not even my family knows. Um, I had never talked about any of this until I was doing a workshop for it was called the Summer Youth Program, where we would go through different things, different activities, different workbooks, different worksheets, everything to figure out what was holding us back from doing things. Essentially, is what they wanted to know. And mine was I was in the 10th grade and I had a boyfriend date rape me. I never really honestly thought of it like that until I actually read the definition, and that there's more than one form of date rape. Kind where you're dating and they rape you, or the kind where you're on a date at any given time and they rape you. Well, sorry. Just trying to get a drink of coffee. Once again, sorry. Wow. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm a real person. I try not to be a robot. I try not to repeat things that someone already knows. All I would like to convey is what I went through, how I got through it, why at certain points did I stay and not go. So, I mean, there's a lot of ground that I want to expand and talk about more frequently, honestly. I went through abuse with my oldest kid's dad. Um, Physical, really bad, to the point where I had to wear makeup. And I have a picture of what I was wearing when it happened. It happened before we went to my brother's house. He kicked me in the side of the face for supposedly lying to him. And this is when we had a young son. Like, he was 6 to 9 months old. And that whole day, I was terrified. He was bigger than me. Um, he's 6'2". At the time, he weighed 280 pounds. Um, and, you know, I gotta say, it was not his physical appearance, although he was very handsome to me. Um, it was at work, him and I would sit down. This is before we even started dating, and we could have a spiritual conversation about anything. Um, when I did a paper on adoption versus abortion, um, well, my teacher just set it down to where I did adoption or other, and this other girl was going to do hers from the abortion point of view. You know, yeah, the debate, that being a debate. Anyway, it's hard. Sorry. That's when I really started. Well, okay, I really started reading the Bible intentionally. When I was in the fifth grade, before then, um, before we moved to the town that I live in now, that we've lived in for over 30 years. Um, Sorry if you heard that. That's my cat and dog playing with each other. um, so if I yell Bjorn or Majestic, I'm talking to my dog and my cat, just so you know. Um, like I said, I really, really started not researching, but reading. I guess it'd be researching because it was for a purpose. It wasn't just because I wanted to, although some of the subjects were. I had a concordance, a Strong's exhaustive concordance, and I had my Bible because I was a born again Christian. I got baptized and I was baptized in the Holy Spirit that same day. And I do have my own spiritual language. Holy criminy. I think maybe I should wait to do this because I don't even remember what I was going to say. And this is part of my problem because recently, the past couple of years, I had a mini stroke and that, or aneurysm. And it was small enough that I didn't die. Obviously, I'm here. But it put me in a coma for a while. And so I get lost sometimes. I'll try to keep my point on point. So, oh, the different religions and why I studied. Okay, there was Jehovah's Witnesses, there was born again Christians, there was Catholic in there somewhere, which would be the King James version of the Bible. The born again Christian, I use the NIV, New International Version, and when we were Jehovah's Witnesses, we had a Bible, their own Bible, that does not always agree with the other two Bibles that have been around for hundreds of years. Okay? Yeah, I'm sorry for using my hand gestures like that, but I got to make that point clear. I respect Jehovah's Witnesses. I respect the point of view. I have been one. I was one for 5 years. I believe that within my experience, it is something that I still want to study, but it is not a religion that I want to get back into at all. I walked away and I walked away for a reason, and I'm not going to turn around and go back the other way. um, but all of them inspired me to read the Bible. And I would pick a subject to read, and I would go through and I would study my Bible. I had also a Ryer Bible, which was just, it had more of the references to other scriptures. And um, the hardest thing for me right now is its anniversary dates. What I mean by that is March 5th is when I got married to my older kids' dad. August 1st, it was, or 2nd, one of the two, I have to look, um, of 2006. No, wrong date. 2000 and, criminy, 2004. And like I said, we were, 10 years. 10 years I was married to him. And with that comes a lot of things. There was, like I said, the abuse. I couldn't do anything right. He had to explain to me one too many times that things needed to be a certain way. I would come home from work and I worked graveyard shift. He would talk to me until it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, usually, and then I would just crash. Um, if my ex roommate that lived across the street from us needed something because her washer and dryer was in our apartment that we had because hers didn't have a hookup, um, I told her that, hey, just call and let us know that you're coming over. And that's what she was doing. She was talking to me about coming over. And well, her and I stopped. And anyway, I had to go because I was getting really tired. Um, anyway, she called one more time. And after he got off the phone, he says that fucking bitch didn't need to call it at this time in the morning. She knows that we have to get up for for work. And through the phone, and a one bedroom apartment, which the back door went into the bedroom, which led to a small hallway where the bathroom was, and then on the other side was the kitchen, and then back behind that was the dining room, while he was standing in the kitchen facing the hallway that led right to the bedroom. That hallway went right over my head, or went into that section of the bed where my head was. And I was sitting up trying to figure out what was going on, and he threw the phone, and I ducked just in time, and the phone shattered. So here I go, go to my mom. Hey, Mom, I need a lamp. Or not a lamp, but a phone. That one broke. Or do you have money that I can borrow until payday? And she had an extra one. She says, well, here you go. It works. It works nice. Just, you know, try not to break it. I'm going through a lot of phones lately. And that was my second phone that I had gotten from her. It was my third phone total. When it happened next, it was 2 days later. And he once again got mad, grabbed the phone off the wall, ripped it off the wall, and threw it. And I was laying down, and it hit 1 inch above my head. The actual physical abuse on me, I'm trying to think, really started when we moved away from where we were, across the street from my neighbor, or my roommate, ex-roommate from college. Anyway, we moved from there to the next town over, and goodness gracious, sorry, my eyes are itching today really bad, obviously, as you can tell. He sorry, I didn't realize how hard this would be about this one. Anyway, the point is, we had, I had friends that turned to turned out to be not my friends, according to him, because they're not acting the way that he wanted me to act. So I needed to find more godly friends. I needed to get into women's group. I needed to do this. I needed to do that. Oh, and to put on top of it, the bracelets that said, "What would Jesus do?" WWJD. Yeah, he had me put um anger, um it like spelled out star or something like that. I can't remember truthfully what every letter stood for, but they each stood for something that I needed to work on, according to him. So that was my way of showing him that I'm working on it without having to talk to him about it, because oh my god, that talk is not the one I wanted to have. There were times where I didn't agree with what he said, and I would outright tell him. And that's when threats started. And me, not thinking anything of it, crossed that line. And that's when he first laid a hand on me. Um, I can tell you from the time that we had met, or not that we met, but the right after our first date. Um, he after we were done uh, having sex, he told me that I was now his wife, and if we want to stay together, certain things have to happen. Um, and so I was just trying to figure out what his reasoning for that was. He was setting me up to one. Well, I took a pregnancy test and we thought I was pregnant. So because of that, we set our date for March 5th. Um, he wouldn't just rape me. He would use objects also while filming it for him to watch later. It's really, really hard for me to, like I said, talk about this because he wanted a son. He got a son. He wanted another son. I already told him we're not having another son. We're having a daughter. That was even before I went to the doctors. Went to the doctor and had the ultrasound and said, "See, there's nothing hiding anywhere. Her legs are crossed and she doesn't want you to see it." And so I was just giggling about that, and he got mad. Came time for me to give birth to her. I left my son, the oldest, the older, anyway, my son, with a friend of mine. And I went into the hospital and I was in there for 12 and a half, 12 and a half hours before I had her. As I am actively delivering her, he steps out of the room, talks to my brother and sister-in-law, and asks them if they wanted her, or he would, for $5,000 they could have her. And my brother's like, "What? No." He's like, "No, I'm serious. I don't want her." And that was something that my brother took him a long time to be able to tell me. Well, all of that happened. He neglected our kids when he was oh my goodness. Yeah, I just finally got tired of it. And I told the kids that if there's anything going on with their dad, they need to go and tell the school. My daughter is the one who he was beating. My daughter is the one who had to endure sexual abuse. And so is my son. And this was by their father. And I was at work. I didn't know. I didn't spend enough time with my kids alone for them to be able to tell me he had to be around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless he was in school. And I would get off work, come home, get the kids ready and fed for school, and make sure that he was ready. Then we'd all leave. We would drop the kids off. Then he would go down to school down to the college. And he became an LPN. He was in the middle of taking his registered nursing classes. And this came up. He took something that I wanted to do away from me. Because as he was going to 1996 and 1997, that's pretty close together. I love him. I do. I wouldn't ask for any other kids. Besides the younger two. I always want them too. Bjorn, no. No. Dog. But annoyingly, I created my own problem in this situation before or after he got arrested, in that I had fallen behind on our laundry, and as I did that, there became like more and more and more, and I had to deal with that with him so many different times. So many different times. And yeah, I don't like anything that reminds me of him. Actually, it's not that I don't. Well, yeah, I hate it. Um, but there are a lot of times that were wonderful. It wasn't until after, like I said, he started drinking that it became a problem. Um, while he became an alcoholic, because he was drinking all the time, um, he had to have enough in the morning to last him until 11 o'clock the next morning, or until 11 o'clock in the morning. Um, he needed to save some, so he had enough for that so that I could go to the store for him and get it so that he doesn't look like he's the alcoholic. And I'm like, what the fuck do you think they look? What? Yeah. Yeah. Me. That happens. But yeah, though he doesn't care. Um, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch him have to drink in order to deal with everything that was going on in his life. I mean, the man wasn't perfect. There were reasons why he did things. And I think that's what hurts the most, is that he wouldn't accept the help. He wouldn't say, yeah, honey, I let's do, you know, family counseling, or, couples counseling. Why don't you do counseling individually and I do counseling individually, so that we can work on our past crap that is keeping us fighting and keeping us, in a place that's not healthy. But, he didn't want to do that because he didn't know what I was going to say. And if I said the wrong thing, well, then, all hell would break loose. He wanted me to go to women's group, so I started going to women's group. Second time I went, the second week. And I came home and I was so happy about, stuff. And I wanted to share, and he wanted to listen. And I started sharing. He says, I don't know who you were talking to, but they know nothing about the Bible. And I looked at him and says, really? Because I can look it up right now. I have it marked. And I read it, and it was verbatim of what she said, and then how she explained things. But until I proved it to him, he didn't want to believe it. So, like I said, we were married for 10 years. Yeah, I think that is one thing that I answer the most. Okay, I am Christian. I am, but I'm also a medium, and I know I'm a medium because certain things are said, certain things need to get done with other people, and once they get done, they're healthy. Um, oh my God, what was I saying? Anyway, um, kids ended up in foster care because of everything that happened, and in Washington State, it is really hard to get your kids back once they're in the system. But I am proof, living proof, that you can do it. Doesn't matter how much you drink. It doesn't. They'll try to use that on you. Well, you've been at that store quite a bit. How would you know unless you're following me? It sounds like someone's bored. And then having been accused of doing drugs, and I didn't. So I took blood tests, or not a blood test, P test for him, and they wanted to do a polygraph test. Okay, you set up the time, set up the day, the day and time and where it is, and I'll be there. Just, if you're going to change it, call me first. So that way I know to go to the other place. So I'm not coming across as someone that doesn't care about my kids, someone that doesn't, I don't know. I did every single parenting class that they offer in the town that I live in. There's a river between the two, and it's a different state. Um, so how can do you think about something? Are you easily manipulated? What I mean by that is, are you allowing excuses and excuses and excuses to justify what someone does? That these three right here. I keep pointing at it. These three right here are crucial because if there are any signs of these, it could lead to this one. All consequences are everything you do has a consequence. The consequence of me staying with my husband and trying to work things out with him and not realizing what was going on with our children, to our children, um, between our children. It's hard for me to hear. It was hard to have to have to testify. I was terrified. He was sitting right across from me, um, and he's got this smirk on his face because he always told me if he got arrested, he'd make sure that the church and the government knew how bad of a mom I am. Every time I saw the kids, I would play with them, I'd interact with them. I had a present for them, usually, and it turned out that their foster parents didn't want me giving them anything. And then turn around and let my children, who were 8 and 9, barely 9, watch Scarface. Really? that's appropriate. Men in Black isn't appropriate. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, there's adult humor, but they don't get that. Buy Toy Story for them. Oh, no, we don't. On a VHS and DVD. Oh, we don't have either one of those. Hmm. So I just did what I could. Saw them when she would let me, when she would bring them, or when she would say that they were okay to go, and then that they weren't sick. Um, it comes to a point where, as a Christian, something is going on, something is wrong, something's not right. So for me, I write things down. And not only that, but like I'm talking to you is how I talk to God. He is a friend. He is a father to me. I don't have one. I have a stepdad that I know and I love, and I call him dad, which he is. He's dad. Um, yeah. Yeah. Manipulation. Are you easily manipulated? Are you easily giving out justifications for everything? You don't have to justify anything to anybody. You're a grown ass person. And only your parents can be your parents. If they want to use the Bible, tell them, a man is to leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. In other words, protect her, be with her, do everything you need for her. Stop going to mom and dad for things. Stop relying, or stop taking into account how your how a parent wasn't present, and that's why this person is acting that way, is because they have a parent that was missing out of their life. You don't know that. I don't know that. I don't want to entertain that thought. Um, but that is something that I do really, really, really want you to think about. And I'm probably going to do another video later on this evening. Like I said, I'm sorry. It's been a couple weeks. Had a really rough couple weeks. So I hope you have a blessed day.